Hey, welcome back everyone to Pioneer Knife and Tool. I got a special episode here for you. We are going to look at the four most notable, historically important, and famous cutlery companies from Germany. There's four of them, folks. A couple of them go back 350 years and longer, so you're talking centuries old. Uh, I've got all four represented here. Everything's Stag, I'm going to show you pretty much here. Uh, and what spurred this on is I finished up my display for my German hunting knives, my Stag knives. I finished it up the other day, and I thought, well, you know what? I'll do a little episode on it. So this is a 3-knife display. I have two of the companies represented in that display. So let's take a look at the first company here. You can see that, you can see that very deep blade stamp there. J.A. Henckels, Twin Works, Solingen, Germany. Henckels Twin Works was founded in 1731 by Peter Henckels. A lot of their knives will be stamped Zwilling with a Z, with the Twin Works logo. The company pioneered ice hardening technology at some point. It's a very historic company. Beautiful big buoy there. Beautiful knife. That's fairly old knife there. Beautiful Stag on that. All right. So Henckels. I got a couple other Henckels here. I've got a really cool Stag old pocket knife. This one here is really old. It has the Twin Works logo. The old ones are going to have the Twin Works logo. And the company goes back so far back. It's just absolutely amazing. But a cool little Stag folder here. This actually has scissors. See if I can pull them out real quick. There they are. Yeah. Henckels. Little slip joint there. Here's another one here, not as old as that. That's an old knife here. Probably, kind of hard to date them, but it's definitely probably 80 years old or so. This is a cool lock back here. Look at this beautiful Stag on this one. And this is a Zwilling's work, Germany, made over in the Henckels factory. See the twin Works and this freer door right there. Okay, if I can pronounce that, was another kind of an offshoot of Henckels. But I mean, the quality of this knife, folks. I mean, seriously. And this is probably from the 50s, would be my guess. Just wonderful knife, man. Henckels, 1731, Twin Works. Let's look at another one here. We're going to go with Puma Works. Yeah, most people know Puma knives by that big famous white hunter right there, right here. Puma Works. Okay, what's the history on Puma Works? This one here is a Puma also. That's a Jad Nicker hunting knife. That's one of my favorite knives. Check this out. Puma Works was founded in 1769 in Solingen, Germany. And they were primarily a razor and pocket knife company. Straight razors and pocket knives. And then they did not shift to hunting knives like you're seeing here until the 1950s. So they made straight razors and pocket knives from 1769 and didn't get into hunting knives until the 50s, sometime in the early to mid 50s, because the Puma White Hunter, probably the most famous Puma knife right here, that one was made in 1968. That came out in the mid 50s, designed by some serious African game hunters got together with Puma and designed this knife. The nicker right here, that is from 1971. Puma Works, folks. I mean, seriously, think about that, 1769. Here's a little bit later, Puma here. Quality not quite up to this one here. This is the Puma Bowie, Germany. This is, I think, like a 80s, late 80s or something, early 90s maybe. And it's a decent knife, but their quality is not what they were during their heyday for their hunting knives. But Puma made all kinds of cutlery for years. I've got the Great White Hunter knife over here is the classic Puma here, 1968. And these are just, you know, as far as factory knives go, honestly, I don't think you can get any better than Puma from the 60s into the early mid 70s for a Stag hunting knife. Absolutely beautiful knives, and their slip joints, their pocket knives are awesome too. Think back, 1769. Could you imagine owning a Puma from, you know, the early 1800s? And you know, their famous trademark was the Puma, the cat. Yeah, think about that, man. Puma work. I got a couple more Pumas here. Let me see. No, that's a Boker. I just gave away what the next one's going to be. Let me look at this one. Okay, that's it for Puma. Let's roll on here. All right, the next company is the Anton Wingen Othello. Anton Wingen Othello, Solingen, Germany, started in 1888. The company became very notable in World War I with their combat knives and then their hunting knives. And I've got a few of hunting knives here, and that is the cream of the crop right there, folks. That is the original Trapper from the 30s. I have another one on the way that was made after World War II, almost very similar to this, but not quite. The deep stamp etching on that is so deep. The other one's not quite as deep, but it's pretty much the same knife made after World War II. And from what some notable collectors of German Wingen knives, from what I've heard, the original Trapper came out in around 1930, sometime in the 30s, and was made up to World War II, and then the war broke out, and then it was brought out again after the war and was made up to about 1960. And now those would be considered the original original trapper knives. And folks, this is it, man. The other one I've got is just almost dead mint. Hoping to get it here pretty quick here, but let's just take a look here. You're talking, this is not your typical German hunting knife with the butt bolster that's held on with the screw nut. This is a full tang Stag hunting knife of just the highest quality. Here's your Othello character there. That's a Moor warrior right there. This is one of my favorite knives, folks. I gotta say, and it's from the 30s, so it's pre-World War II. I gotta say, I like it better than the Puma White Hunter. It's older, but to me, this just historically, and the coolness of this knife, to me, beats out the White Hunter. But I love the White Hunter too. All right, let's look at some more Anton Wingen Othello knives. Here's a cool one right here. Beautiful. This is more of a combat knife right here, folks. This would be typical of World War I and World War II, but this was probably made in the 50s, would be my guess. In beautiful shape. And this was imported over by a company, Henley and Company. They imported German knives, high-end knives, and this thing was never used. I've got the original sheaths for all these, but just look at that quality there. Again, here you go. You've got a full tang here, pinned on nickel silver bolster. Yeah. Anton, made in the Anton Wingen factory. Here's some little bit newer ones here. This is your traditional style German hunting knife right here. And this was actually a style of a combat knife that Germany made too in this style. And not as old, but a quality one here. Linder Nicker, handmade, Solingen, Germany. And look at the quality of this thing here, folks. The sheath on this is just awesome. They made this style of knife here for centuries over there in Solingen, Germany. One more here. No, that's it. That is it for the Anton Wingen. All right, let's get into the last company here, and it is the oldest, and we're talking Boker. Boker Knife Company, Solingen, Germany. It was the knife division was founded in 1829, but the Boker tree brand logo was registered in 1674 as a trademark for tools. So Boker Knife Company goes way back to 1674, making tools. They didn't. In 1829 is when they started making quality sabers and knives. 1829. So let's look at. I've just got a few here a few Bokers. This is a later one here. Boker actually, we'll start out over here. And I've showed these before. These are Boker. I got a twin pair here of Boker Stag folders here. They're very, very old. They're 1800s. And I've showed these knives before. And the Tree brand logo, they came out with that logo in 1674, my friends. See the little tree right there? They're really, really early knives. That's all they had was the tree on it. And so this is a 1800s knife, maybe 1880s or 90s or something. The other one's even older. And it's got remnants of the tree stamp too. Giant folder. Yeah. Boker. Insane, man, to think how old some of these cutlery companies are now. You know, when America started, started up a lot of knife companies, a lot of your master cutlers left Germany and Sheffield and came over and started up these knife factories in America. Almost all the cutlers that were working in the knife factories in late 1800, early 1900s and that were all from Solingen, Germany and Sheffield. Here's a newer Boker. They have a division down in Argentina. Yeah. So this is just a really cool little Stag hunting knife. Really, really sweet. So Argentina, I think that's where Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid booked down to when they were on the run in the early 1900s from the law. Because Argentina had cowboys and cattle, and it was like the Old West down there. Bolivia, Argentina, and that. So they have Boker has a division down there in Argentina, and that's where this knife was made. And I think that's it, folks. I think that's going to wrap it up pretty much.